I'm Lois,
I'm Dave.
and welcome to the Lois and Dave Always Right show.
Indeed, we're kicking off nice and early today. So, thank you very much for joining us and watching us on Twitter and what have we. Thank you very much.
We're
So,
very excited. We've been talking about this for ages, haven't we, Dave?
it's been lots of hot air and nothing's ever been done about it. So, talk is cheap, as they say.
To be fair, though, to you and to me personally, there has been a bit going on, hasn't there? Not just in the world, but professionally.
Well,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
but here we are, and as I say, welcome everybody. And every week it'll either be Dave and I, or it'll be Dave and I and a distinguished guest. If we can't get somebody good enough, then it will just be Dave and I. But I am hopeful that with Dave's big numbers and my slightly smaller fan base, that we will get quite a lot of attention for what we're doing. So, Dave, do you want to kick off? What's in the news this week? What are we?
Well, okay. Well, I think the grooming gang, and Elon Musk is the big story at the moment, and all the fallout and the sub stories behind it as well. I just sort of sent out an X post earlier on this morning where I said the Overton window is irretrievably moved to the right.
Okay.
What's being said today, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you'd be fired, you'd be cancelled. When you
Even
refer
1 year ago, Dave, even 6 months ago.
Yeah, sure. Under a Labour government, do you have any ideas, Lois? Under a Labour government, this has happened. You would have thought under a Labour government they'd be looking to shut us up even more. Can you work out a reason for it?
Well, I think, with Trump in the White House, everything has shifted. I mean,
I
you've got
suppose so, yeah.
Zuckerberg yesterday talking about how he really wants Facebook to be, talking about the fact that that there's no freedom of speech. Well, hello, we've been saying that for quite a long time. He's
Sure,
obviously fighting for his own survival. My
sure.
understanding is that Nick Clegg was either resigned or was got rid of a few days ago, and then Mark Zuckerberg came out with these statements. But it's
Sure.
interesting, when you've got a Labour Party, you've got a Labour government that are this left wing, and I mean totalitarian left wing, i.e. communism.
Sure.
You are going to get a response, and Nigel Farage and the Reform Party have changed everything as well, because up
Yeah, he is right
until
there as well. Yeah,
very recently, no one was challenging the status quo in the Commons.
sure,
No
indeed.
one
Yeah,
was doing it.
sure,
So channels like GB News, Talk TV, other channels like that, they didn't exist. Now they do.
sure,
So you've got the Tories having to be more Tory, and they've seen a political opportunity here. There's no doubt about it.
sure.
But Elon Musk, I wasn't too chuffed with him when he said what he said the other day about Nigel Farage. I'll
Sure,
be honest.
sure.
But he has. I did an interview with an American outlet, the Epoch Times, for the American audience yesterday. It's going out tonight
Yeah,
online, and they were asking me what I thought about Elon Musk's interventions, and I was broadly positive.
sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
in no way would this have been highlighted
Yeah. Sure.
and without him.
Yeah, I don't think you're quite right there. I must admit, if there was some lefty who was a billionaire, like I don't know, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, for argument's sake, he owns the Washington Post. And he started shouting his mouth off about British politics from a left wing point of view. I might have objected to that.
We've had Gates and Soros.
Yeah.
The
Well, indeed, yeah,
forever, haven't
yeah.
we? No
Well,
one.
you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And Klaus Schwab at the WEF. The amount, the EU, United Nations, all these supranational bodies who we have to doff our hat to and fit in with and agree with what they're doing. So it's nice to have a bit of balance for a change, isn't it? I suppose on reflection.
Really?
Yeah, and the way that that it's ripped open the whole edifice of the depravity that has gone on for 30 years.
It's unbelievable.
I know, yeah. I've been writing about this at least for 5 years, and it's got some traction, but it's not as much traction as it is now.
You're accused of racism. It's like if you ever talk, if you ever spoke about immigration or being
Sure.
concerned, you were
Sure.
racist. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll never forget the Gordon Brown calling that woman and
Yeah.
a bigot.
Yeah.
She's
Bigoted
just a
woman. Yeah.
bigot.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
no,
actually, sorry, go on.
go on. No. I'm just about to say, I nearly have a full set from Elon Musk at the moment. He's quote tweeted me. He's retweeted me. He's made a comment, but he hasn't followed me back yet. So
Oh no!
I
think there's quite a lot of Elon one-upmanship going on at the moment. Have you been retweeted by Elon? I certainly haven't. I did a tweet supporting Mr. Farage the other day, which did extremely well. Just saying that I thought that on this particular thing that Mr. Musk had got it wrong. Bizarrely, Elon did not retweet that.
I'm brown nosing him a bit at the moment, but there you go. But no, I overall, I think Elon Musk has done this country, the world of good, and I think the girls who were the victims of those Pakistani rape gangs, should be eternally grateful. The Labour Party is completely on the back foot at the moment. I think I was reading. I think today is the vote on whether the whole national inquiry, and Starmer's put in a 3-line whip. So you vote against.
What are they doing? I mean, their base, their working class base. I think they might have forgotten that they're supposed to be representing the working class.
Sure.
They hate them. I mean, they actually hate the Labour Party. You've got the winter fuel allowance. You've got them looking into, taking away the bus fare cap because it was £2 for any one journey nationally. That's going.
Sure.
If it's not already gone. And now, white working class girls being targeted by gangs. They've got no one to stand up for them. There's either dads are not around or their mums, no one cares about them, and they were sacrificed at the altar of political correctness and for votes.
Yeah,
that was the Tories as well.
Yeah, sure.
It wasn't just Labour.
Yeah, I know. I know. Although I have fact checked. I think there's 50 councils. I fact checked about 20 or 30, and all bar one, which was Oxford, were Labour majority councils at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. So this is a Labour issue. They don't want a proper inquiry. It will expose everything. It will expose Keir Starmer being complicit, not just complicit, but in charge. Making decisions about deciding not that the police were told not to take it seriously. Gordon Brown issued an edict not to take it, to just not pursue it, because who cares about little white working class girls?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
they can be sacrificed. A lot of them were in the care system as well. No one.
They were being looked after by the local authorities. And these 13-year-old girls, were in these care homes, and taxi, the Pakistani taxi drivers came round to their homes to pick them up.
It was brazen. It was brazen.
How could you ever allow that to happen if you're a human being? It's
if they didn't want to be accused of racism. We got to a point, I don't think it's the case right anymore, thank goodness, but we got to a point where it was worse to be accused of being racist than it was to be an active paedophile.
Absolutely,
I mean, that is how bad it got, I mean, it's my ex-husband had a run-in with the HMRC, and the PR newspaper, the PR Week, described his offences as being worse than Max Clifford's, who is currently in prison for paedophilia. I mean, so that's how insane it got. That things like that that paedophilia was acceptable, but other things, including being racist.
There seems to be this elite, amongst the elite, paedophilia seems to be sort of, something that they just accept that happens and get on with it. Like Epstein, there's rumours about what happens in Los Angeles. There's also rumours about what some of the MPs get up to in Parliament that I've heard of.
The problem that you've got is that when people they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
And young girls especially are seen as the prize, the perk,
Sure.
and also the ultimate taboo. And
Sure.
I think but I also believe that, and this Majid Nawa is a very good friend of mine,
Sure.
who's a big supporter of Trump and Nigel Farage, and has been one of the most vocal voices very early on against, and got a lot of stick from his own community. You have no idea, for exposing the rape gangs. He said that that he feels that people are chosen because they're paedophiles, because the globalists, whatever you want to call it, that make these selections, or at least encourage selections,
indeed,
will always have something on them. I mean, I don't know how much truth there is in that, but it's certainly something to think about, isn't it?
Well, no, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Those the allegations about what P. Diddy was up to and things like that. It's amazing. We probably only know 10% of what went on.
It's all about power with this kind of stuff. So quite often with paedophiles who go for very, very young children, so I'm talking prepubescent, they will quite often not have a preference over whether it's a boy or a girl, because it's almost completely about power. And then we've got the most powerful people in the world who seem to be, at least ostensibly, and active in this kind of behavior. It's got to stop. It really has.
Well, exactly. I really hope Trump and Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, whatever his name is, really can get to grips with this. And there are talks about the Epstein list, P. Diddy list. What's the word? Published on the day of their inauguration. So
I've heard about that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So let's wish everybody luck, and let's hope for some more girls and victims of the grooming gangs get their day in court and get their justice finally.
Well, the worst thing for a girl, and I know this from experience, right, is not being believed, right? So even if these poor girls don't get their day in court, not all of them will. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The fact is, people are believing them and taking it seriously now. And that means they can move on with their lives. I mean, the amount of girls that have gone on to have problems with addiction to drugs and alcohol from this, and have very sadly overdosed and stuff like that. Those poor girls, hopefully they're at peace now.
Last night I was on Next Space. It was hosted by Visegrad, Stefan, and Peter Sweden.
Right. Oh yeah, I know Peter Sweden. I know of him.
Indeed, and there was Sammy Woodhouse was there, and also Samantha Smith.
I know of her again. Yeah.
I asked the question: do you ever find any peace? Do you ever really sort of the best way to describe it? Do you ever feel at ease with yourself? After all those years of abuse. The answer was no. They live with it 24/7, 365.
Do you know what the worst thing is, right? And again, this unfortunately is from experience, right? When you do buck up the courage to tell somebody, and they sort of infer that even though you were 14 or 13, and the other person was a grown man, that you were somehow complicit in it.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
And worse, that you liked it. I tell you what, you never really get over somebody saying that to you.
Sure.
Ever.
Oh, dear me.
And when Gordon Brown made the comment about how it was a lifestyle choice for these girls, how is that different from somebody saying basically they liked it?
Yeah, I know.
How does a girl like at 12 years old having 4 men inside her?
Sure, indeed, yeah, absolutely.
She does not like it. No. She really doesn't.
Yeah. Dear me, I think that was the one that I think shocked people the most.
That particular story.
That particular one was the worst one. No, there's also the girl who was raped with a broken bottle.
Oh Jesus.
And she has
that's cultural enrichment, didn't you know, Dave?
No, the Georgia multicultural, isn't it? No, I feel so enriched.
He's told one of the girls' mums that she should be pleased. I saw this on Twitter. I think Elon Musk might have retweeted it.
Sure.
She should be pleased that she's experiencing other cultures. I mean, Jesus wept. What?
Sure. Indeed, yeah. Well, indeed. Just to finish off the story, she had at the age of 13, she had to have a hysterectomy.
So she can never have children. Oh, that's absolutely awful.
I know. So that person who did that should be getting that's 20 years in jail. No parole, and you sit there and you think what you did and how you ruined somebody's life. So I'm just so pleased that we can now have an open, frank conversation, and we don't have sort of pussy,
haven't they?
Exactly, not a pussy.
See, we're always right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, all these sort of epithets of far right. We're right by far. So exactly, always right. So yeah, good stuff.
Well, I don't always agree on everything, do we?
No.
And that will make our show a little more interesting, sure. I think.
Well, talking of things we might not agree with, right? Briefly, Nigel Farage's comments on Tommy Robinson.
Yeah. What about them?
Do you think he went too far?
Look, Nigel and Reform are doing their thing, and sure. Tommy Robinson is doing his thing. I've said this before. I agree with a huge proportion of what he says. Sure. Absolutely. But I do believe that it is possible to agree with someone on certain political share political views, but not particularly be enamored with that particular human being. And I don't think that means that I'm anti those views.
Sure.
And also, I think Nigel yesterday on his show said that he felt that what was happening right now with Tommy Robinson's imprisonment was questionable. Sure. Again, I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive, that you can share that view, but not be anti-Tommy. But my view, Tommy Robinson, has been done for headbutting an off-duty police officer. Beating him up. He's headbutted someone at a rally. I mean, to be fair, I might have headbutted this particular guy at a rally because he was a skinhead fascist. But he's got. If you're going to form a government in the House of Commons, and you cannot have violent individuals with you, whether you agree with every word they say or not.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Right. Loves. I don't disagree with what you said there. Actually, I don't disagree with you.
Oh this isn't good television.
I don't. But I got a different context, a different nuance to it.
Okay.
A lot of different nuance to it. I remember, I think it was 2016 Euro elections when Tommy Robinson was associated with UKIP. It was an absolute disaster for UKIP. The mainstream media, came right after them, and they were trashed and what have you. Politically,
the election's the one from the centre ground, and however much it might annoy you, me, and everyone on our side of the argument, you have to pull the centre right. For a right-wing government to come in.
Absolutely, politically, Nigel Farage has no option but to distance himself from Tommy Robinson. This is not a choice. He has to do it. I've said to Tommy Robinson's face, you are the architect of your own downfall, and and you are a flawed character. I've said it to his face.
Yeah.
For FFS. Behave yourself, sort of thing. Just be a good boy for a year or two, and we hopefully we can rehabilitate you. But the thing about Robinson on balance, I think he's done more good for this country than harm.
I think the highlighting that he has done with the grooming gang issues has been admirable. But he does seem. This is another thing where we might disagree. I'm not sure. I don't think people should be deported for being Muslim. I really don't. And also,
I don't think he believes
I'm
that.
I'm convinced that there's a complete.
I don't think he believes that.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Well, in that case, I agree. Then there's no.
He wants those. He wants those who are committing criminal offences and those who are just fundamentally opposed to our basically traitors and fifth columnists. The extreme element of it. He doesn't want every Muslim Muslim.
It does seem
deported.
to be a rhetoric, especially with that. Funnily enough, the leader that I put in place because I made him my deputy in UKIP, Nick Tinconi.
Yeah.
It's not with him, and again, I'm happy for him to correct me.
Sure.
It does seem to be not just about Islamic extremists, which I am very much opposed to, and Islamism and all of the things you mentioned.
Sure.
But Islam as a faith and as a religion. And unfortunately, I'm getting that impression from a very good friend of mine, actually, Father Calvin Robinson, recently as well. And I am not anti any faith, but I am anti extreme ideology and violence which is connected with any faith.
Well, this is the point, Lois. The extremist needs to be confronted. The Muslim Council of Britain has got two candidates for the general secretary role, and one is pro-Iran. One is pro-Iran.
Really?
Yeah.
Pro-Iran?
Pro-Iran, yeah.
Well, with their human rights record and the way they treat women. What they're doing to Israel.
Yeah, he's a Khomeini fanboy. And and the other one believes that Muslim school children in this country, that their first duty is to be faithful to Islam rather than Britain.
See, this is why the Jewish people have always assimilated so well wherever they go, and wherever they go, my grandfather was Jewish, so I'm sort of 25%. I always say it's my.
Me too. Me too. My nan, my mother's mother was Jewish.
Okay. Well, there you go. So, but whenever Jewish people come to a country or come to a place, they create jobs, they create wealth, and their allegiance is to the king and country first, always. Yeah, they do a prayer for the king. Yeah, so
that's exactly the point I was going to make.
The perfect assimilation. But then they keep their faith and their culture very pure and very focused on that, and family as well.
Sure.
That I think you can look to the Jewish people to see perfect assimilation and as you say, having an allegiance to country first.
Indeed. Well, my understanding is the difference between the Islamic faith and the Jewish faith is when it comes to war, Muslims. This is why there's so few Muslims in the army, because their first call of duty is to Islam rather than the British country. Whilst Jews accept that if they serve in the army of foreign powers, they may end up fighting each other, and that is unfortunately permissible. For their point of view. So that's a difference.
Having said that, I have had a few debates with a good friend of mine about if it came to it, whether and he had to choose between defending Israel or defending England.
Sure.
And his argument was, right, because I pinned him down on it because he was trying to squirm out of it, right? Very good friend of mine. His argument was that it's such a small country, Israel, and there's so few people, and so that would be why the choice would be that he would go and help them if he was forced at gunpoint.
Sure, indeed, absolutely,
But yeah.
Well, there's the British people supporting the underdog. I think where that might partly come from as well.
Israel anyway, so it would be, it would be fine.
Well, indeed,
Interesting, isn't it, when you've got dual allegiances, like. But
I know,
it's much more distinct.
Well, I always say that you're assimilating this country when you start complaining about there's too many foreigners in the country.
Yeah, I mean, my stepfather is Jamaican, and he says stuff like that. So I think he's properly assimilated now.
Right. Well, apparently we're running out of time. So.
Okay. Well, I've really enjoyed this, Dave.
Me too. Yeah, it really has been fun. So, well, I have to get this all done properly and more professionally next time. So, but hopefully I'll be able to work out how to load it up onto Twitter and what have we.
And get your mate Elon to retweet us, Dave.
Sure, indeed, yeah.
All right, then. Thank you so much to everyone who's been watching the Lois and Dave show, the Always Right show, and join us again next week. Mwah.
Thank you very much. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Right.